Hi everyone, I'm Yihuan Chen. On behalf of the co-authors Kexue, Qianyi, Chen Zhicong Lu, and Ray Elsie, I'm delighted to present our paper, The Configuration of Space, Prompting the Way Social Interaction and Perception Affected by Task-Specific Spatial Representations in Online Video Communication. We humans live and act in 3D space, interacting with others in face-to-face communication. Nowadays, we often work and communicate on 2D surface. Like this moment, by Zoom or Wova, we can present online to share different topics. However, in 2D video chats, spatial mapping cues like seating or object layout are limited, altering social dynamics and nonverbal communication. Since 2010, video platforms like Zoom became vital, especially during COVID-19, but they also lack nonverbal language and more natural spatial cues, which increases cognitive load. Although many previous video chat systems have utilized spatial configuration, the visual design still has certain limitations, such as not being inclusive enough, having visual flaws, and shifting the remote attendee's focus. Therefore, we aim to propose a more inclusive design for remote participants. We use Orient to build different layouts, and it is a platform that allows users to build different video chat rooms. And we conducted a qualitative study to investigate how the spatial configuration of video chat influences people's perception and behaviors in different tasks. We divided 30 college students into 2 task groups, social group and the topic discussion group. In social support task, participants discussed the challenges and experiences during COVID-19 to support other participants. In the topic discussion task, based on their background, the topic is whether the university should mandate a full-time internship in one term for undergraduate students. Each group includes 2 conditions, room condition and a normal gallery condition with an equal number of people. And the 2 different layouts were configured by Oye. The room type features spatial seating arrangement and a consistent background, replicating a classroom setting with chairs arranged either in a circle or 2-sided rows. In contrast, the gallery type presents a traditional grid view of video streams like Zoom. In general, the participants were randomly assigned into 2 conditions in 2 tasks, and the 2 researchers facilitated the study, with one taking notes and the other leading. The session began with a quick self-introductions, followed by a discussion topic. Participants in the same task followed identical procedures without any interventions during the 30-minute discussions. The video chat was recorded for analysis, and we conducted post-study interviews afterward. To gain a deeper understanding of the responses and the trends identified in the data, we especially asked them questions related to spatial perception, how they feel about the space in the video chat room, and whether they were influenced by the spatial perception. Moreover, we asked what they thought about the gap between group chat online and in the physical space. For video recordings, we developed coding themes based on methods like discussion coding system. Some key themes focused on facial expressions such as smile, and we also look at body language, including action like hand clapping, nodding, etc. And our finding reveals how the participants process the spatial information of video chat using visual cues, and how they form the perception of self and others in the group video chats with spatial configurations. With visual cues, participants can locate people, scan whole groups in order, and use their nonverbal language like pointing others. For targeting participants in a video chat, instead of searching for different objects in a scene, we realized that the objects were actually the videos of participants themselves. We found that in room layout, participants could more easily label each other based on their position, thus saving the time of repeating this process. This setup give the room layout an advantage over the gallery layout. In the gallery setting, the need to locate a specific participants during the chat occurred more often since participants needed to identify who was on their side and the other side. In addition to locating one participant, the chairs as a whole also help participants to scan through the group members in a sequential order. For instance, in the topic discussion room where the video frames were positioned in two opposite rows, participants said they can scan from closer to the screen to further from the screen. While in the social support room with chairs in a circle, participants can glance others in the room in a clockwise order. Meanwhile, a few gallery participants noted that again, they glance through the videos using their video screen as the center. Additionally, we found that the spatial cues enhance nonverbal communication in both room and gallery conditions. Firstly, participants often use directional gestures, like pointing to manage turn-taking. Secondly, spatial proximity also influences how participants synchronize their behavior during video chat. When people are sitting close to each other, they tend to show similar behaviors like laughing together, mirroring each other's body language, or coordinating when to use their microphones. And when it comes to perception forming, room setting really influences participants' sense of belonging in different tasks. During topic discussions, the spatial arrangements help reinforce a strong team identity. And in social support sessions, the circular setup creates a feeling of inclusivity. More interestingly, feedback from a gallery participant indicate that the sensation of being in the spotlight contributed to video chat anxiety. And the tendency to avoid attention of video chat was akin to choosing a seat in the back rows in a physical classroom. A participant positioned in the bottom right corner of the gallery grid layout expressed that this corner spot brought me a safe and comfortable feeling, just like sitting at the back row of a classroom. Furthermore, compared to face-to-face interactions, participants feel less anxious when observing others' facial expressions in video chats, attributing this to a sense of hiding. To further discuss our finding based on three aspects of Steve's spatial model, we can summarize that in room-type seating, the circular chair arrangements foster order, facilitating sequential interactions like self-introductions, and the grid structures lack such intuitive order. Partitioning further influences spatial dynamics by fostering team identity, and the room-type seating enhancing nonverbal communication and make people feel more connected, resembling the real-world interactions. Overall, the room-type interface significantly enhances user experiences in online meetings. However, our study still has some limitations, including a small sample size of 8 to 9 participants for each condition, a narrow range of spatial configurations and the meeting themes, and the lack of survey method due to sample constraints suggests that a need for future within study approaches with diverse spatial variables and quantitative services. Since our study combined classroom scenes and seatings in 2D, it's better to isolate factors like seating and backgrounds to clarify their individual impacts. Finally, we should explore additional arrangements, backgrounds, and tasks under controlled conditions. And future research will focus different demographics like elderly people with varying digital literacy and perceptions compared to younger generations, as well as exploring gender-specific influences in digital environments and cultural influences affecting the space perception should also be considered. Additionally, emerging techniques like generative AI could enable video conferencing backgrounds to be more creative based on teamwork, or verbal cues. And interaction applications like game art could use this research to improve spatial coherence in their environments based on user interactions. And finally, I would like to thank the co-authors, Kexue Fu, Qianyi Chen, Professor Lu Zhicong, and Dr. Riaoxi, and all people who help with this research. This research is supervised by Professor Riaoxi and supported by City University of Hong Kong, School of Creative Media, and Studio for Narrative Spaces. Thank you.